I want to talk to everyone who has firsthand knowledge of what happened that night, and I want access to every document, because you never know which document, it could be the last one you receive, answers your questions.
He's right. He is being tapped to lead an investigation into the Benghazi attacks. Now, Congressman Trey Gowdy of South Carolina getting death threats. Is that just the start? Joining us right now is Congressman Devin Nunes, a member of the House Select Committee on Intelligence. He joins us from D.C. Good morning to you, Congressman.
Steve, great to be back on with you.
It's great to have you. A couple of days ago, the Democrats were saying, no, nobody should show up. Then suddenly yesterday, Nancy Pelosi said, well, we'll show up if it can be half and half, which is kind of funny because when she was running things at a select committee, it was 9 Democrats versus 6 Republicans. What sort of recipe are you guys looking at?
Well, it's going to be 7 Republicans and 5 Democrats, Steve. And the point that you make is right. The Congress has a long history of these investigative committees. We attempted to do it through the existing structure with the 4 committees of jurisdiction. But as you know, we've been stonewalled by the administration, so much so that the legislative branch of our government was unable to get the emails that you guys in the press were able to get. That's totally unacceptable, and I think it broke, basically, John Boehner did the right thing by coming out strongly and putting one of our great new members of Congress, Trey Gowdy, who's going to do a great job as chairman.
You know, as we look in, you know, you're in the thick of things down there in Washington, D.C. It does look like stonewalling, in addition to the fact that, you know, they would send you guys documents that were completely blank because they'd been completely redacted where you couldn't even tell what it was about, which is kind of nuts. They've also made it impossible for you to talk to the people who were there. It sounds like, and from what we've heard some of you guys talk about, is these guys have been threatened with their jobs. If you say anything, you know, there goes your pension. We might sue you. Will witnesses be able to testify in front of your committee?
Yeah, and I think that's the important point, too, is that we're going to have good witnesses like Greg Hicks, who was the #1 man after Ambassador Stevens was murdered in cold blood by al-Qaeda terrorists. Greg Hicks was the man in charge. And Greg Hicks has been put out to pasture by this administration.
That's right.
He's been said that he's not a credible witness. But I think what we're going to find through this investigation is that guys like Greg Hicks, who were on the ground, the station chief that was there in Libya working for the CIA, all of those people are going to be extremely credible. And if we can ever get the rest of the emails out of the administration, we're going to find out. We're going to get to the bottom of what really happened in Benghazi and who made up these most ridiculous stories.
Well, you know, the White House goes, well, we had Congress, you've had a bunch of investigations, plus there was that ARB, the Accountability Review Board, they looked at things. But the ARB talked to Greg Hicks, to your point, and he told them that the reason Chris Stevens was in Benghazi was because Hillary Clinton personally asked him to see whether or not they could establish a permanent post there. That's what he told the ARB. But the ARB, when they finally released the report, it said that Chris Stevens wound up in Benghazi independently, which is crazy. That's a flat-out lie.
Yeah, well, and we still we haven't gotten to the bottom yet of what was Chris Stevens actually doing there.
Right.
He did meet with people that day. I think that's something that the committee should look into. Who exactly did he meet with? I think the committee should try to meet with those folks, or at least have investigators meet with those folks. There's still a lot of information out here, and I don't blame anyone but the White House. The American people should blame no one but the White House. They had an opportunity, and they have a responsibility as leaders in this country to provide the legislative branch of government all of the documentation when the legislative branch asks. They did not do it, and they get what they deserve on this.
Well, to a lot of people, it looks like there was a conspiracy and a cover-up, and a lot of people would like the answers, and, well, it's up to you guys now. All right. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us today from Washington.
My pleasure, Steve.
All right.